this child, but did I want this child? This is the ratchet part of the show. Read to y'all what inspired tonight's topic. So yes, so long story short, dude is mad because his baby mom wants him to celebrate her life success,
even though he feels like she ruined his life.
But one thing I want to say, two things that I want to say. One is she still managed to graduate from college. And we all know that even if there are two parents in a home, even if we live together, even if we're in a relationship, we live together, we married, I'm not saying all the time, but the majority of the time, who is taking care of the child?
The woman.
She breastfeeding, she's there when the baby, nurturing, right. When the baby's sick. Most of the time, my ex had a 6-year-old son at the time. This little boy for the longest time didn't fuck with me like that. This nigga got sick one day. He didn't go to his father. He didn't go to nobody in the house. He went to the first female, which was me, and crawled up in my arms and told, God is my witness, it was the funniest shit ever. Everybody looking, the niggas in the house is looking like, this nigga was mad that you around because you taking all the time, taking all his, like, you always around now. He was mad at that. But when he got sick,
the first person he wanted was a woman.
A woman.
He wanted to be nurtured.
He wanted to be nurtured. So even if the father is like in the life, the children always
crave
the
feminine energy.
The feminine energy. So even if he says like I was there financially, I babysat, like, sir, I'm pretty sure she was doing the brunt of the work and she still managed to graduate college.
Right.
So what is your excuse, and how long are you going to hold on to that? Because while you're putting all your energy into trying to make her life collapse, you could take that energy
and make your life. But it's a catch-22 with that too. It's a catch-22 because at the same time, he can possibly make his life pop. Maybe he wasn't never going to pop in life though. It don't got nothing to do with her.
He probably wasn't because he got
an excuse. That's the excuse right there.
A lot of us live in that excuse world.
A lot of people live in victimhood.
Right.
They live in victimhood, not an excuse. They live in victimhood because guess what? They don't have no identity outside of being a fucking victim.
Alright, so for our green audience that might not know what a deadbeat dad is, let's give them the Oxford.
Me personally, I wanted to talk about deadbeat parents because that shit, I'm sorry you guys, that shit goes both ways. It's not just deadbeat dads out here, it's a lot of deadbeat moms out here too.
I want to say that it is levels to this conversation tonight.
It is.
So we could touch on that too because it is levels to this conversation. But give them what the Oxford definition is of a deadbeat dad is.
A father who doesn't live with his children and does not pay their mother any money to take care of them. And I do not agree with this.
The Urban Dictionary, a man who doesn't pay child support, disrespects his baby mom in front of his children, and disregards her feelings. A man who believes that any form of child care is not his job. So the question that we started out with that was in the poll, if a man, because this man that we read his situation earlier, if you're just tuning in, he didn't want the child. He stated that he didn't want the child. He tried everything in his power to make her get an abortion, and she still wanted to have the child. She had the child. He didn't want to be a deadbeat dad and just run off. So he's taking care of the child, but he's bitter.
I feel like that's twofold though.
But answer the question, is he a deadbeat dad if he doesn't take care of the child because he never wanted to take care of the child? Should he still have to pay child support?
No.
You stand on that?
I'm standing on that. Because guess what? Let's be honest out here. It's a lot of women out here, just like there's a lot of men out here who track people with babies, right? you have a baby by somebody, because I've heard it with my own 2 ears, I've seen it with my own 2 eyes, where a woman will be like, I don't need you to take care of this baby. I'm going to be fine by myself. I'm going to take care of me and my baby. And then the baby comes, and then you see how much responsibility it is, and now you chasing this motherfucker for the next 18 years. And you calling him a deadbeat for a baby he never fucking wanted. But you already knew that before you had this baby. He told you he didn't want no baby. He told you he didn't want to have no dealings with you.
So on our poll so far, 100% of y'all have voted that it depends on the situation. I do also want to read somebody's inbox that they sent us, because we're about to get into the legal aspects of it. And I also want to tell people before we start, let me say this, neither Khalida or Michelle are doctors or lawyers.
Either.
We're not.
This is our personal opinions.
These are our personal opinions.
And we might not agree.
We are not giving out legal advice. We use Google, and you can use it too.
Right.
So
it's free.
It's free.
And it's accessible.
It's accessible, because that's how I found out a lot of the research that we're about to state tonight. But before we finish, I want to
read the inbox. Read the inbox.
Right. So our inbox responded. If you go onto our stories, follow us on Instagram, YouTube. If you haven't found us on Instagram yet, at Sip and Discuss, we do polls weekly. We want to hear from y'all. Even if you don't agree with us, we want to hear your opinion. This is the type of shit we want. Like, we like hearing different opinions. Agree to disagree.
Right.
Legally, I say create a document saying that you didn't want the child and sign your rights over. Don't forget proof that you told her when she was pregnant, and get it notarized, then leave. Oh, that sounds really sweet. But it sounds legit, and it sounds like something that can be done, but legally, that wouldn't even work.
That doesn't work legally.
It doesn't work legally.
That's not how the law works.
Giving up your parental rights is a process.
Right.
It's not something that you could just get a lawyer and then you just write it and then they notarize it and then boom, bang, you don't have your parental rights no more. First of all, you have to go before a judge and you have to fill out a form that's called a voluntary termination of parental rights. But just because you fill out that form...
Say it again, because I know what she's about to say.
What
Well, say it louder. That it does not financially...
No, I was about to say that too. But just because you fill out that form doesn't mean also that the judge is going to grant it.
Right.
Because the judge has to take in the reason why
you want to give up your parental rights.
He has to make sure that mentally you're sane.
Right.
Second, that you're not being forced.
Right.
Third, like, what is the reason for this? And just like you said, just because even if a parent surrenders, y'all can Google this, even if a parent surrenders his paternal rights, he is still obligated to pay child support until the child is adopted. So that means that the baby mom has to get someone, like she has to get married and get somebody, because she can't adopt her own child.
But let me tell y'all something. If y'all don't know, in the state of New Jersey, if you don't go to court for custody of your child, you legally don't have custody of your child. I legally don't have custody of my children because I've never gone to court for custody. The state of New Jersey legally has custody of my children.
It's a lot that goes into that. Like, if you really get down to the nitty gritty on why we have social security numbers and
everything,
and birth certificates,
right,
and stuff like that, when you really do your research on it, I have watched interviews where conscious black people stated, and I don't do a parentheses to like downplay them being conscious, but I apologize, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but they have stated why they don't have their children in hospitals. They homeschool their children.
Why they don't have social security numbers.
Their children don't have birth certificates. Their children don't have social security numbers, because honestly, when you get down to it, just like you were saying, the government owns your child. Like, unless you go to court,
you legally do not have custody of your children.
Of your child. Another thing that blew my mind, which I already knew this, but for those who don't know, and I kind of already knew this, the father does not have the same parental rights as the mother pre-birth. He does not. So with that being said, like, there are certain things that a father has no say-so in. First of all, if she doesn't want you in the delivery room, you have no right to be in there.
Well,
it doesn't even matter if you're married.
But I feel like that's a whole nother legal realm. That has a part to do with HIPAA. Why you can refuse somebody to be in a room with you. It doesn't really have anything to do with him being...
Well, when I was doing research, they just gave a list of things that you have no right to.
Okay.
Like, you have no right to be in the room. You cannot stop a woman from terminating her pregnancy.
But it's
crazy. Now I'm so pro woman. Do not get this shit fucked up. But I'm so pro being fair also. So I feel like some of these laws need to be reevaluated. Right. But at the same time, when you think about what a woman, I've never been pregnant before, but my sister's been pregnant. I've actually watched my mother be pregnant. When I was 16 years old, my mother got pregnant with my little sister. I watched her get pregnant with 2 difficult pregnancies late in her life. You know, the older you get, the more high risk you are. So I literally watched my mother have a child that they said was going to be mentally retarded. A child who was born with a hole in their heart. Like, I watched her go through the stages of being pregnant and what it can mentally do to you, what it can do to your body. So I understand that it's something that for a man to just be like, go ahead and have the baby, but he literally doesn't have to carry a soul. Right. Like, you're carrying a whole nother human being in your body for 9 months. And then if you're not with the person, like, you was pregnant, but you was pregnant by somebody that you was in love with. That you was with. Right. But you still remember how difficult
it was still very difficult.
But imagine going through it alone. Without being in love with somebody. Right. Without somebody giving you your favorite foods.
Support. Right.
I
was a bitch.
Right. So it's like, so that was one of the things.
Like, I ain't even gonna lie. I was very difficult. Not with the first pregnancy, but the second pregnancy.
Oh, because the second pregnancy, that motherfucker. I would never say that on live, but I'm just saying, that between me and you, right. that motherfucker was already on his shit.
He was on his shit and in his shit and been on it since he came here. Ain't never stopped.
All I'm gonna say is all my Aries, shout out the God of War with the shits.
With and on the shit.
Get you an Aries in your life. If you don't. You gonna have a rider for the rest of your. They a little crazy, but you gonna have a rider for the rest of your life. That nigga be down for everything. So you cannot force. A man has no parental rights. He cannot force a woman not to get an abortion. He cannot force a woman to get an abortion.
Right.
He just fucked.
Right.
Even if your baby is in you and you're carrying a baby and they say they want to perform a certain procedure on a baby or something's wrong with the baby, like, if she don't want to consult you about it or tell you what's going on with your seed, she don't have no legally she don't have to, and legally you have no say.
But you still gotta pay for it.
Right.
That's fucked up.
You don't gotta pay for it while she pregnant. You don't gotta do nothing while she pregnant. It's when she dropped that baby is when you are legally responsible for that child.
I feel like that's fucked up.
I do too.
I feel like that's a fucked up ass situation.
But how do you fix that disrespected another person's right, though. Because if you try to fix that law, then you disrespect the woman's right. Because if I don't want to carry a child for 9 months and I want to have an abortion, it's my body. You can't force, you shouldn't be able to force me to give birth to a child. Then on the other hand, if
I'm not gonna force you to fucking take care of a child that you ain't want though. Like, that's what I'm saying. At the same time, you saying don't force me to have a fucking baby, but I'm gonna force you after I have the baby to take care of a baby that you ain't want.
Listen, I feel like
I didn't even want this nigga.
Right. I feel like I forget how I was thinking about it earlier, but it's the same situation. Like when these motherfuckers is so pro-life. They want you to have babies.
Man, shut the fuck up.
But then, when the baby get here,
y'all want to complain about me trying to get benefits and get help and all types of shit for a baby that I couldn't fucking afford, that y'all niggas stopped me from going into the abortion clinic to kill. Me and Jesus was trying to play ping pong with the baby.
I don't even think it has anything, it doesn't have anything to do with you signing the birth certificate. If she wants to take you to court and prove that you're the father, that's what she'll do. You don't have to sign a birth certificate.
No. And you already know if you don't show up to court and she puts your name on the birth certificate, you still legally responsible.
Unless you go to court and get that paternity test to prove that you're not the father.
Right.
The way the system is set up, the system wants you to take care of your child regardless, because they don't want it to be their problem. Basically, that's how I look at it. Because if I sign over my parental rights and I'm telling you basically I don't want this child. I want nothing to do with this child. I told her, if I'm standing in front of the judge and I told the judge, listen, she got pregnant, I told her I didn't want the kid, I don't want no parental rights. And the judge still tells you, okay, that means you have no say if the child gets sick. You can make no decisions when it comes to this child. You can't see this child, no visitation rights. If the child gets sick, if the child becomes a millionaire, whatever happens with this child,
you don't have no claim to it.
You don't have no claim to it. But the government will not be taking care of your child. So, sir, you still have to pay child support.
Fuck no.
Because to me, that's what it boils down to. Is that we do not want to be responsible.
That's their bottom line.
Right. Is that we do not want to be responsible for paying for your child. So we're going to ease into another part of the subject, because one thing I do want to say, especially as black women, we have to protect ourselves from who we are deciding to sleep with.
Who are we deciding to
sleep with?
Let into our energy, really.
Right.
Not just sleep with. Let into our energy, because it goes further than sleeping with them. Because you can sleep with somebody and that can be the end of it. It's the people that you let into your space and be around you and know your movements and things like that goes into what you're about to say. Okay, so we gonna ease into this facts. Okay, so first let's read some comments. That's BS, right, Khalid? He agrees with you. Only if you sign a birth certificate. I touched on that. Facts. I'm on child support right now, and I do everything for my child. I really feel like, ooh, y'all gonna hate me because I don't have no kids. And I probably should. And I always try not to speak on child support. Child support is a broke bitch sport.
I wasn't going to say broke bitch. I was going to say bitter.
Bitter and broke. Bitter and broke.
I wasn't going to. Now, this is a woman. This is a woman who has 2 kids, and she's saying that. So I always feel uncomfortable saying it because I don't have no kids. But I be feeling like, first of all, I don't want the white man in my business.
Exactly.
Period.
You know, we don't fuck with white people like that.
Well, Khalida said, oh God, Khalida
that child support is a broke and bitter bitch sport.
Yes, touche.
The only reason I say that because I feel like a lot of, and there are men out there who ain't shit, and literally they aren't going to do shit for your kid.
Regardless.
But 9 out of 10, bitch, you knew that when you was fucking him.
Right.
Like, I'ma keep, like, since,
let's keep it a bean.
I'm so pro girl. I'm so pro woman. Like, I love women, but come on, let's, like, if we really keep it a gully, like, if it's sister to sister, girl to girl, like, if we really in sister's corner, we really going to sit up here and talk about it, it was red flags. You knew that nigga wasn't
But you
shit.
love Carnival, sis.
You loved it.
Definitely do.
You knew that. That nigga probably already had kids he wasn't taking care of.
Right. So guess what? Now you just in a long line of bitches that this nigga ain't never take care of his kids.
So you're
But you was you thought you was the different one.
Right.
You thought you was the one. You was gonna convert
bitches
him.
be swearing pussy changes a nigga.
It don't.
Say it again.
It don't.
Say it again.
It don't unless he wanted to.
Right. Unless he wanted to.
Unless he wanted to.
Pussy does not change a man. Period.
I wish y'all would stop doing that.
Men don't even marry bitches with good pussy half the time. That's not even the reason they marry them.
No. Because you are not a helpmate. Bitch don't know how to cook, don't know how to clean, can't balance a fucking manage the household. Like,
so I say that because the niggas that you have to put on child support is niggas that you shouldn't have been fucking wrong. Period.
say it again.
You shouldn't have been fucking him at all.
You shouldn't have been fucking him unprotected.
Right. But you have the dudes that they're going to be there for their kid in every single type of way. But if you put them on child support because you're mad because you can't be with them, you're mad because you want to have control of the situation, you feel like it's some get back. Like, child support is putting a white man in your business. Then as soon as he misses a payment or misses a couple payments, then he got to go to jail.
Right. So now he can't make money at all.
It's so many stipulations.
It's so many steps to this.
That goes with child support where you hinder a man from growing.
Right.
From it. So that's probably where he was coming from with his bitterness, with his anger.
Right.
Because he was on child support.
Right. Because
child support is a whole nother demon.
Right. That keep you in like this.
Right.
And then you got this motherfucker on your back every week, every month.
That's a motherfucking bear you got.
Right.
Rag with you. Oh,
like this shit is crazy.
Like everything you do in your life, it shows up like, yeah, I'm still over here.
Niggas can't even get passports because they got fucking child support.
You can't do that.
Like, you can't do shit.
You can't even get certain jobs with child support. Oh, you get child support? All right, next applicant.
One of our sippers said, if you want child support, that's all you get. Don't call for birthdays, holidays, nothing. Your money is on your card.
Double dipping. They be double dipping too. Like,
they be trying to
I gave you a check, and now I can come out with more money in my pocket? I thought that's what child support was for. And then that's where the name calling comes in and all that.
I know a few people who are not on child support. And one of the reasons they said that they feel like they think that they're not on child support, one is because they baby moms know what type of niggas they are, what type of men they are. And two, because...
we use niggas loosely.
Right.
Don't.
Right, I'm sorry. What type of men they are. And two, they say because there's no feelings there. Like, these are women who are they moved on. They're in relationships.
Right.
There's no...
They're like, oh, I got hit up. So now this is what I got to deal with.
Right. Like, this is just who I have to deal with. But I know what type of man he is. I know if I call him...
he gonna be there.
He gonna be there.
He gonna show up for our child.
Right.
But look, this is the thing. This is the other thing that I want to say about that. Because some women expect you to show up in other capacities besides being there for their child. If me and you are not together, don't expect me to show up for you in any other capacity
outside
of being
the child,
a parent.
Right.
That's where the disconnect comes in, because you think that you got other privileges because we got a kid together. The fuck is that?
Girl, talk about it. Like you could just show up at my house. This person, right? You could just show up at my house because y'all got a kid together.
No,
when it don't have nothing to do with you, with the kid. And
it don't have shit to do with the fucking kid.
And then get mad at me because I come outside with a bat ready. Like, listen, it's two of y'all, it's one of me. And where the kid at? Because the kid ain't here.
The kid is asleep.
Right.
The kid in bed. Done took a bath, tucked in, everything. Got school in the morning.
Someone said, like, a lot of us men be scared to take it to the courts. Well, y'all have to stop being like that.
Right, because you gotta play the same game. Y'all gotta play the same game that these women be out here playing. And I swear to God, I stick by that shit because I know women who have the mindset who think like, oh, because we have a baby together, you're obligated to take care of me. No, bitch. I'm obligated to take care of my fucking child. Right. Like, why do you think that you owe me anything?
But I do want to say, because, like, I really feel like when women are like that, it's because they still are emotionally attached to that man. And they can't see that this is all about the child.
It's done.
It's done, but it's all about the child. Like, when you really have your child's best interest at heart,
right?
You let that shit go.
You let it go, and him saying that he wants to collapse her life, like he wants to get her back in some type of way legally. The thing is, what you don't understand is when you do harm to your child's
other parent,
ultimately you're doing harm to your own child. So when he says he wants to see his baby mom's life collapse,
like, who you think gonna feel that the worst?
Right.
The child.
Because guess what? I never wished bad on my kid's dad, ever. I've always wanted him to be better, to have better, to be in a better relationship.
Because who that gonna
to get
help?
with the person that he really wants to be with. Because guess what? If you're happy, my kids is happy. I'm not trying to have my kids in a situation where they feel less than because you feel less than. No, I want you to be celebrated and happy in your space.
I don't think people understand how energy works, how depression works, how all that shit is contagious. If we two parents that's miserable and arguing and we can't get
that
past
shit
the
is trickling down on our fucking kids. That shit trickles down on your kids. And now your kids are in fucking therapy.
Right.
Trying to heal from shit.
Because you mad over some dick or some pussy.
And there's a lot of dick and pussy out here.
Child.
Walk away and say, hey, let me go find that other. If we can say all we want, we all know several people that go back to that same one, knowing damn well they should be walking the other direction.
I feel attacked.
Wow.
But again, at the same time, we can point that, because I know I've been down that road.
So I also want to say that there has to be conversations that are had before you start having sex with someone. Even if I know one night stands, it's kind of hard to do that because y'all both fucked up and you getting it in. But there has to be conversations on whether you want a child, what's going to happen. Like, I know those are like, who wants to stop in the middle? Yes,
bitches is getting hit through the boxer hole, and you talking about conversations about having babies. Like, niggas not even taking their sneakers off. They hitting bitches through the boxer hole with they jeans around their ankles.
And they'd be like, oops, my bad.
Oops, my bad. Get a plan B.
But I do want to say, like, I want better for all of us. Like, every once in a while you need to get a quickie in. But if you can't have a conversation with a motherfucker about your body,
Right.
And what's going on with your body.
Right.
And how you feel and what you don't want to do and what you do want to do. Like, one of my things was, I don't like Plan Bs. I learned out the hard way. I always knew I never wanted to try a Plan B, but I gave in to taking a Plan B, and it just confirmed
why you didn't want to do it.
Why I didn't want to do it. Because I know my body. I know how sensitive my body is. But I also, what if I didn't feel comfortable having that conversation with that person?
Right.
And then the aftermath of taking that Plan B and all that came with it, I didn't have to go through that by myself. I went through that with him.
Right.
So you have to be aware of who you're sleeping with.
Right.
Like, you have to, if you can't have a conversation with a
about a nigga that you about to get naked with.
Like, if you really can't sit down and talk to a motherfucker about what's going on with your organs, how you feeling, your pH, all that type of stuff, sis, wrap that shit up and head out the motherfucking door. And he should never ever see you naked. He should never ever be able to see you naked again, let alone breathe on you. He's just not mature enough, not worthy enough to be in your presence. And I only learned this from experience. I'm not judging nobody. I can speak on this because I've been there, done that. I've ended relationships because I was not allowed to speak freely about how something was making me feel, my body feel. This is the ratchet part of the show. Just